let us talk about immigration. Yes, my favorite subject as of today. Let's hear what Mr. Holman here has to say. So he explains that self-deporting lets individuals take advantage of legal programs to return. Oh, that sounds very like, oh, I don't know, empathetic and civilized. While formal deportation can result in a ban for 20 years. Also very civilized.
I think people are finally getting the message, if you leave on your own, you can take advantage of legal programs, come back. But if we have to go through the process of formal deporting you, there are mandatory bars against you for up to 20 years, sometimes forever. So, if you want to take advantage, come back as a worker, a tourist visa, a visitor's visa, a student visa, or have a U.S. citizen child if you have one, petition for you in the future. Leave yourself open to the opportunity of legal entry. Do things the right way. There's millions of people standing in line right now doing things the right way. Taking the test, doing the background investigations, paying their fees. They're sitting in the back seat while millions of people are allowed into this country.
See, that is one of the really fucked up things that I despise about all this fucking immigration shit, is that there are tons of people waiting in line to get into the country who are doing the right thing because they don't want to take advantage of the system. They don't want to take advantage of us. They want to do it the right way. And what does it say to them? How does it say that we respect them when they do the right thing and we allow others to break the rules and get away with it? Right? It's just like, it reminds me a lot of when you're on, let's say when you're on the road, right? And you've got 2 lanes of traffic. Okay, this is one way on like the interstate. This is one way, so traffic goes this way. And this lane, and basically what it's got, you got one lane that's fully backed up. So you've got cars all in this lane. This is what it reminds me of. And so you've got this gigantically long fucking line, right? That's leading up to an exit. Okay. And some douchebag takes his stupid ass fucking little car and skips in front of every motherfucker in line and pushes his way in to get to the exit. Instead of getting over early and waiting in the line, he goes all the way up to the front and just gets over. That's what this is. So every time you see that and you're like, "Oh, that is shitty. Somebody should do something about that." This is what the unauthorized immigrants are doing in our country. This is exactly what it is. They are playing us all for suckers, and we are letting it happen. This is why I despise this fucking conversation about this so much, is because of that. It's because we can't have nice things because people abuse the system, and then the people who are supposed to police the system don't police the system properly.
Country and Biden administration that simply don't qualify for asylum. Most of them will lose that asylum claim. So while they're clogging up the whole system, in addition to those who want to come in legally, while the millions of fraudulent asylum claims under Biden administration, there are people in this world who really are escaping fear and persecution from their homeland. But they're sitting in the back seat too, because millions of people cheated the system, come across the border and released in the United States, that caused a significant backlog in immigration.
You get that, right? So, to my analogy with the traffic analogy, you have all of these people who are actually fleeing where they're from because they are in danger, and they have to wait, and they have to get in line, and they have to suffer because a bunch of fucking douche nuggets wanted to take advantage of our system. Recently, Grok banned India from receiving payments. Or see me. And from what I understand, one of the reasons they banned India from receiving payments was because they had so many scammers cheating the system. Payouts in India accounts after detecting, yeah, for example, post on X in early May 2025 said X reduced payouts for Indian accounts after detecting manipulations such as groups artificially inflating engagement to maximize ad revenue. And it was so bad, that's one of the reasons why they did it to the whole of India, is because there were so many taking advantage of the system where if you don't act in good faith toward the system can't function. If everybody cheated the system would break down, right? And so if you're just farming engagement, then you're not actually making X a good platform for advertisers to be on. Therefore, there's going to be less advertisers. Therefore, there's going to be less money. So, yeah. Some users claim this led to broader suspension of payouts in India and hashtags, blah, blah, blah. However, these posts are not conclusive evidence as they reflect user sentiment, blah. Okay. Regulatory action from India. Statements adjusted, clear to its creator monetizer program and localized payment policies. Yeah, so I brought that up simply to make the point that if you abuse a system enough and enough people do it, the system completely falls apart. That's any system we have, right? The vast majority of people have to be bought into that system and play by the rules. And it's just like with our asylum stuff, like how many people are going to die? How many people are going to suffer? How many people who truly need the asylum, who could get it, won't, because some Trende or Wagra asshole or some MS-13 asshole is stuck in the fucking asylum system and we won't kick them out because of, or excuse me, they have abused our asylum system and now we have to wait, 5-10 years to adjudicate their case because there's such a fucking backlog, right?
Immigration court. And that wasn't by accident, it's by design. Let's just overwhelm the system. So it takes 5, 7, 9 years to go through the whole process.
It does feel like this was done on purpose. You can't really read minds and be like, oh, of course this was absolutely done on purpose. There's no other reason. Because there's always other reasons that you don't, your lack of imagination is not definitive proof that someone is malicious. You'd be surprised how creatively incompetent people can be.
If they take advantage of the appeals process, they know exactly what they're doing. That's why they weren't in ICE detention. Because in ICE detention, they get a hearing within 35 days. But for release, millions of the country overwhelm the system, so they don't get a hearing in 5, 7, 9 years. Then maybe there's a Democrat administration in power. Now we can have an amnesty. They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game. But we're going to beat them at it. We're going to ramp up interior enforcement operations and removals. We're going to force the law. We're not going to ignore the law like the prior administration did.
It does feel like that's exactly what's been going on. And it's not some cigar smoking conspiracy theory where, the people who are leading the Democrats are doing this. What happens is that it's just like with the red and blue team media, right? You're starting to see a lot of it on red team now that they have like an actual media apparatus outside of Fox that's like established, where the entirety of the blue team will come up with the same fucking talking points and the same fucking bullshit. And basically what it boils down to is that they're either one, just repeating each other, which is, it's not that they're getting talking points from anybody. They're just repeating each other because, oh, somebody said something that sounds like it's good. Well, I'm going to use that too, kind of deal. And then on top of that, if you have the same worldview and what you want to do aligns with someone else, you're likely to come up with the same conclusions they do, especially if you're writing articles every day, or you're doing the news, or you're doing commentary or something like that, right? Like someone who is more aligned with my worldview will probably have very similar opinions to me. But that doesn't mean that I'm getting my opinions from someone else, and that doesn't mean that someone else is getting their opinions from me. It's simply that we have a similar worldview, and therefore we come to similar conclusions, and because we're doing the same fucking job, we end up doing this damn near the same thing. So you don't need collusion for people to all work toward the same goal if you're all working toward a common goal anyway, right? So this is why a lot of the conspiracy theories about, the great replacement theory and all this other stuff kind of fall apart when you actually try to make it a conspiracy theory rather than it just being an outshoot of the extreme ideology that is taking over the far left, right? Where nobody's illegal, open borders, basically let them all the fuck in, that kind of stuff. And there are a lot of people who bring up, well, Biden had the opportunity to do a lot of this stuff when he was in office, and why didn't he? Well, one, because he's not fucking crazy. Because he knew that if it got bad enough, it would be disastrous for his party. That would be something that a politician like Biden would know. And so you wouldn't want to push it too far. And if you and the thing about it is that it's an entirely perfectly reasonable, this is stupid reason as to why the entire conspiracy can't function in reality, because every single Democratic president also deported a lot of people. Now, it is true that Joe Biden lowered the requirements for asylum. And so if you were in the country and you got picked up, you could claim asylum then and be put into the process. Now, that is something he did, which he retracted right before the election came up. So maybe that was something he was trying to do. I don't know, man. Because a lot of it is there's so much bullshit involved with the system. And it is one of those things where you can use weaponized incompetence to do exactly this. Right? It is entirely possible. That doesn't mean that's what was done, but it's entirely possible, especially if you manipulate the system to the point where you, like Tom Holman said, you overwhelm it to the point where it takes 5 to 10 years to even adjudicate one case because the system is so backed up. All right, let's look at this. I find this hilarious. This is going to be funny right here. So, the Department of Homeland Security pay for self-deportation flights. The Trump admin announced a new plan to offer payments to illegals who choose to self-deport on commercial flights.
So Fox News can report exclusively that...
Do none of you motherfuckers have like audio balancing like at all? Do none of you know how to fucking post clips with proper audio? Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
DHS will announce today.
Like, it is the most abhorrent thing
That they're going to start
that I literally cannot hear this motherfucker.
Paying for the commercial flights of illegal aliens who self-deport from the U.S. And on top of that, they're going to pay them an additional $1,000 stipend once they're confirmed to have left the country. Now, DHS says doing this is going to be...
So to self-deport and stipend is going to cost us $4,500. We're paying illegals $4,500 to self-deport. Now you're thinking, why the fuck would we do that? Well, because it saves us a butt fuck ton of money. That's why. It's like, oh, you're here illegally. Look. I'll give you money to go away. How about that? I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually like, the thing about it is that if this is true, if it's true, sorry, you can't see it. If it's true that it saves this much money, this right here, if it saves this much money, I'm not too opposed to it. And if it gets the people out and it saves us a bunch of money, it should cost us zero. They should just fucking leave. But, not only do they self-deport, they get a stipend and they get the opportunity to maybe come back one day legally. See, this is what you call compassion. This is what you call, having a system that functions while also being empathetic and compassionate to those who are affected by it. Exactly as it should be, right? Perfectly balanced.
Significantly cheaper for the American taxpayer. They tell us that right now it costs on average about $17,000 to arrest, detain, and deport someone. They say paying for self-deportations and the stipend will only cost about $4,500 per person. That's about 70% cheaper. Aliens are going to have to register to self-deport on the new CBP Home app to access that DHS financial assistance, as well as announce their intent to leave the country.
Now, you know how I've talked about how criminals are not the smartest people on the planet, right? You know I've talked about how criminals aren't the smartest people on the planet, right? And that this must be a new age, like law enforcement must be loving this new age of cell phones and cameras where every dumbass criminal is literally videotaping the stupid shit that they're doing and posting it on the internet. And my top monitor went out again. Motherfucker. It never does this when I'm not streaming. I have no idea what the fuck is going on and why it's doing this. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna continue on. I'll figure it out here in a minute. I'll figure it out here in a minute. So the reason I brought up criminals being stupid is because could you imagine that this is a lie? By the way, law enforcement is allowed to lie to criminals, by the way, or lie to the public in general. So imagine this is just a trick to get them to like register on the app so they could get picked up. Imagine if they did that. That would be fucking hilarious, dude. But I hope that that's not what they're doing. I hope they're actually doing what they say they're doing, because I like I said, I kind of agree with this. This is if it'll save us money and it'll get these motherfuckers out of here without having to go through all the stupid bullshit of actually arresting them, deporting them, and all the stuff. Oh, it came back. That is totally weird. Totally weird. Anyway, so let's see what
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem tells Fox in part, quote, "If you are here illegally, self-deportation is the best, safest, and most cost-effective way to leave the United States to avoid arrest." In the meantime, here in the sanctuary city of Los Angeles, ICE confirms to Fox News that 3 suspects arrested in connection with the home invasion murder of a man in the Woodland Hills neighborhood last Sunday are all in the U.S. illegally.
Yeah, I heard about that. They were all from another. Yeah, that was really bad. Anyway, so if they self-deport, they get money. I'm not gonna lie. Can I donate some of my airline miles? Oh, dude, would that not be fucking hilarious? I'm not gonna lie. If I actually used airline miles, I don't like to travel, so. But if I would donate some of that. I would absolutely would. That sounds fucking hilarious. Donate some of your shit to American, your frequent flyer miles to help get the illegals out. Oh, that would be hilarious, dude. I mean, here's the thing, dude. Look, here's what it boils down to. If you get the illegals to self-deport, then what that means is the police don't have to be involved. We don't have to waste cops' time. We don't have to waste ICE time, DHS. None of these motherfuckers need to be wasting their time, except for some asshole in D.C. behind a computer, looking at all the motherfuckers who register for their apps, giving them the money that we promised, helping them get a ticket the fuck out of here, and then making sure they get on their plane and GTFO, man. Like I said, this is how you do a system. This is compassion right here. Like, I find it fucking hilarious. They talk about dignity and compassion. All the blue team motherfuckers. That's what this looks like. Oh, you're not really, other than in entering the country, a lot of unauthorized immigrants, illegal aliens, do not commit any other crimes, right? Even if you were to count like identity theft and all that stuff so they can work, most of that stuff, while it's bad and it is a crime, it is not murder, theft, robbery, all the stupid shit that we really care about. Like, we care about the other stuff too, don't get me wrong. But let's be real, the main reason immigration has become a mainstream issue in the way that it has is because of the gangs and robberies and fucking murders and all that stupid shit, right? So we cannot deny that the main reason that all of this is happening is because of all of the really bad actors. If none of the illegal aliens were robbers and gang members and MS-13, like if none of that shit was going on, I do not believe that that mass deportation would have as much support as it does. They still would, but like I said, I've known many illegal immigrant, right? The vast majority of them are people just like you and me, and they are literally just looking for a better life. Which is fine, but you still gotta follow the rules, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't get to jaywalk just because I feel like it. And so for us to do something like this shows that we are not the fucking, crazy evil empire bullshit that they're talking about. It really does. This is part of it. Now, there's other shit that's fucking going on that actually says the opposite. So, there you go. So you can, like I said, perfectly balanced, like all things.
150 traffic. Well, guys, what THP?
This happened in my hometown, Nashville, Tennessee, baby.
He tells us his troopers conducted around 150 traffic stops over the weekend, and some of them did involve this immigration activity with ICE. That is what troopers do confirm to us. Now, they say some drivers were found without a valid driver's license or ID, and there were some illegal drugs found, illegal guns found, and some suspected gang affiliation as well. So troopers contacted ICE when immigration status was in question. Then Sunday, here at the Department of Homeland Security, groups fighting for immigrant rights say there were dozens of people being bussed out by ICE officials. Well, guys, what THP tells us is true.
Well, there you go. And dozens bussed away by ICE over the weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. Local police worked with ICE to conduct 150 traffic stops where they arrested dozens of illegal aliens with guns, drugs, and without valid driver's licenses. Some are suspected gang members. It's just like I said, this is where I'm from, so this is not unsurprising. Like, you should see how many fucking colonial trans flags there are around this fucking place. It's absolutely fucking retarded. But, you know, what are you gonna say, man? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? People are allowed to fucking be retarded. Take a look at me, for example. But people were bitching about how they, what about their children? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so apparently people were bitching because they did a bunch of traffic stops and took a bunch of unauthorized immigrants, illegal aliens. And as you can see, they're blocking the fucking bus. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because this is where I'm from. This is in the South. And as you can see, we even have stupid motherfuckers here who are just gonna, you know, literally try to impede the police and hassle them as much as fucking possible. And it's like, I can kind of understand if all you do is read Blue Sky and that's all you're on, and so you're in an echo chamber where America is turning into a fascist state. Yeah, I can understand why you would do this. I mean, I probably would if I believed it. I mean, let's be real. If I thought America was becoming a fascist state and a dictatorship, I would not be standing out in front of a bus protesting. That is not what I would be doing. There are a lot of other things that I would be doing. But making myself known to the fascist government, putting my face on camera, and standing in front of the fascist police officers would not be the thing I would be doing. No. And that's why it's like, it's one of those deals where it's like, how much cognitive dissonance do you actually need before your worldview breaks down? You know what I mean? It is one of those. It is one of those. So I don't know much else about this. So actually, you know what? I should probably look it up. Let me see. Shit. Stop it. See if we can pull up any articles. Immigration Enforcement Coordination with Highway Patrol and Homeland Security conducted a large-scale operation in Nashville, Tennessee, targeting predominantly Latino neighborhoods. The operation involved over 150 traffic stops along busy roads on Nolensville Pike, Murfreesboro Pike, Harding Place, and Thompson Lane. I know where all of those places are. Holy shit, they went to town. Damn. That is a very busy, that is a lot of busy places. A lot of busy places. Areas known for high immigrant populations. Authorities claim the stops focused on areas with a history of serious traffic crashes, suspected gang activity, but activists and local officials criticized the operation as a broad dragnet targeting immigrants. I mean, I've absolutely heard ICE come out and say over and over again they do not do like dragnets. They do not do sweeps. They do targeted shit. So this would not be a dragnet. This would be targeted because they specifically targeted this area because it has a lot of illegal immigrants doing a lot of stupid shit in that area. There are at least once or twice a month some kind of like car wreck or some type of fucking catastrophe on the roadways and an illegal alien was involved, right? Driving one of the vehicles. And it's like, I have to drive on those roads. I have to take my kids on those roads. And you have people who can't read the fucking the traffic signs, that don't follow the traffic laws, and they're also here illegally. It's like, how many Americans actually have to die before we realize that this is an actual problem? Like, that's the thing that bothers me. You know, especially when it comes to like traffic stuff, because a lot of these motherfuckers will drink and drive. They'll be high on drugs and shit. Like, and one of my friends was, this was like fucking 20 years ago. He was in a car wreck and the fucking the guy that hit them was an illegal alien. No insurance, no driver's license, no nothing. And he was drunk. The police didn't even arrest him. Like it was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard, dude. Which makes me think it was probably bullshit. So, I mean, he was a bit wasted. So, okay, what do I know? Varying due to limited transparency. Detainees included drivers, passengers, reportedly without valid driver's license, were taken to ICE. Blah blah blah. Some were quickly bussed out of the state. Bust to out-of-state immigration detention centers such as Louisiana. Witnesses reporting chaotic scenes. Mothers detained while leaving children in vehicles, and drivers like Uber and DoorDash. Workers stopped for minor infractions like dark window tint. Yeah, did you know it's illegal to have super dark window tint in Tennessee? Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, it's because you're not actually here legally and know any of the fucking laws? Weird. Weird that you wouldn't know that. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass because I wanted to get window tints for my car. My front windows. And the legally maximum is 5% in Tennessee. Not even fucking worth it, dude. It's not even fucking worth it. And the only way you can drive through Tennessee legally with tint darker than that is if you're from out of state. So if you're in a state that allows like 20 to 30%, you can come to Tennessee legally and drive with it. And the police might harass you over it. But if you're out of state, there's nothing they can do about it, right? They can't even give you a fucking ticket because your car's not registered here. Oh, minor infractions like dark window tint. Like it's one of those things. It's like, bro, like I have a feeling the window tint thing was put there simply so the police can fucking harass people. I actually do believe that. Activists from groups like Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, what a lovely fucking name, and Remix Tennessee, like they call and and they say the Patriot Front has a stupid name. I'm just saying. Condemn the raids as terrorizing families and eroding communities' trust in law enforcement. Are you fucking retarded? Eroding communities' trust in law enforcement. Eroding communities' trust in law enforcement. If law enforcement don't enforce the laws on people that break them, do you think that not also lowers trust in law enforcement? Like, so it does really feel like some of these people do live in an upside down world, doesn't it? Protesters gathered outside an ICE office on May 4th, attempting to block buses. Oh, like, you're just fucking retarded at that point. Local Democratic lawmakers, of course, as always, Democrats, criticized THP's involvement and called the operation, that's Tennessee Highway Patrol, by the way. Tennessee Highway Patrol. And called the operation discriminatory, noting the focus on immigrant-heavy neighborhoods. Huh. There's a lot of crime in immigrant-heavy neighborhoods where they, you know, drive without licenses, have guns and drugs, and hide illegal immigrants. So we're going to go to Bellevue where it's only fucking mostly white and almost has no crime. That's where we're going to focus our efforts, boys. We're going to focus our efforts there. Agana, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Sorry I missed that. So that's where we're going to focus our efforts. In the all-white neighborhood that has almost no fucking crime. That's where we're going to look for all the illegal immigrants, guys. That's policing for you, right? Targeting immigrant-heavy neighborhoods. You know, where a lot of crime happens. We're going to target them. It's like... Like, there's really nothing to say about that. That's just fucking... It's just absolute... Like, this entire spiel feels like fucking blue team brain rot. The Nashville, Metro Nashville PD was not directly involved in the enforcement action, though several Metro Nashville Police Department vehicles and a helicopter were present to manage protests and ensure public safety. The type of federal enforcement action is not focused on making us safer and leaves people in the community fearing interaction with law enforcement. Bro. Are you fucking for real? Are you fucking for real? Fearing any interaction with law enforcement. So when you take criminals off the streets and make the actual people in the neighborhoods who are there safer, that they fear law enforcement interaction because of that? You mean because they're illegal? You're telling me that criminals fear law enforcement? No. Really? You're kidding. THP claimed the operation was resulted in a few warrant-related arrests, but did not confirm the total of number. Blah blah blah. But these claims lack verification. So the drugs, guns, and suspected gang affiliations lack verification from official sources. Okay, there you go. Arbitrary rounding up of parents on their way home. Arbitrary. Like, you gotta love the language they use. Like, this is the same thing that Bryan Cranston does. It's where you use language and language tricks. It's like language jujitsu to manipulate something and massage it so it sounds either worse than it is or not as bad. So, targeted enforcement of immigration is arbitrarily rounding up parents on their way home. And workers traveling to jobs do not make Nashville stronger. Actually, it does. It absolutely does. Because when illegal immigrants who are potentially gang members are off the streets and deported out of the country, we have less criminals in our country. How about that? The trauma and fear inflicted on families. Yes, when you violate the law, you get punished, which hurts your family. This is true. And one of the reasons why so many of these motherfuckers are able to game the fucking asylum system is because fucking shitheads like these motherfuckers go out of their way to explain to every single person every fucking nuance of our system so that they can abuse it if they want to. Now, I will say many of them probably don't abuse it, right? They're doing all the steps they can to claim asylum, which is fine. But when you literally are just giving this information away, not vetting it, and you just don't care about who you're giving it to, then what you're doing is you're giving this information also to people who would abuse the system. And the other one should have read in performance of their duties. Yeah, I know, right, dude. Now, see, here's the thing. I definitely understand why people are fucking mad about the whole fucking El Salvadorian prison thing, because if you don't get convicted of a crime, you probably shouldn't be locked indefinitely in a prison, regardless of which country it's in. So I can understand why so many people are fucking pissed about that. But that doesn't mean that any of these motherfuckers are going there and that all of them might just be deported. That's my whole thing. Is like, you don't know. And yet this is what you're doing. You're not taking, and this is the thing, they're not talking about any of this. They're just using all this fucking soft ass, fluffy ass language to get you to empathize with people you don't know, many who are here to abuse you in our system. You got to understand that, right? There is no equivocation. At no point do you ever hear any of these blue team assholes actually both sides this issue. They never do it. It's always one-sided. It always is. This is why I don't trust them when they talk about these things, is because they never give the, yeah, some of these people are here illegally, but we need to, do this and this and this so that we can, maintain order and all this other stuff. No. Arbitrarily rounding up parents on their way home and workers traveling to their jobs does not make Nashville safer or stronger. So, getting people off the streets who don't belong here, potentially removing illegal guns, drugs, and gang members off the streets does not make Nashville stronger or safer. Remember that. Always remember that. This is why I wanted to bring this up, is because it's like, I hear all of this stupid shit come out of their mouth, and I can't help but just be like, shut the fuck up. You lost. And you lost because you keep doing the same goddamn thing and don't realize that you're fucking being retarded about it. Also, Longwood, greetings and salutations, my friend. How you doing, buddy? Pow. So yeah, and seeing a bunch of people trying to like block buses and stuff here in Nashville is so funny because the crowds are so small, because this is the South, so these people do exist down here. And to be fair, like I said, I consider myself a progressive because I believe in progress. Like I want. You want to know what I want? You want to know what I want? You know what I want? I want this.
The first part is called telepathy. Neuralink is building brain-computer interfaces. The first part is called telepathy. Allows someone who has lost the use of their body to control a computer or a phone just by thinking.
Wow.
This is what I want. Honestly, shut our borders down hard. Give people 5 years to start the immigration process. Deport anyone who does do the process. Yeah, like our border, the southern border is now locked the fuck down. It absolutely is. And the funny thing is that this is what I was talking about earlier when it's like, if you want to be empathetic and compassionate while still enforcing the law and doing what's right, this is how you do it, right? Self-deporting, if you're an illegal and you self-deport, then guess what that means? You get to apply to return to the United States legally. But if you get deported, you could be banned for 20 years to life. That seems reasonable. Like, you came here, you did your thing. Oh yeah, you fucked the system. But you know what? If you're not doing anything too crazy, whatever. Get out of here and maybe you can come back. And then this one, where they're literally paying people to self-deport. Like, I cannot tell you how, like, on board I am with this bullshit. This right here, this is how you get shit done, right? How many people are going to take advantage? What, I get like $1,000 plus a plane ticket to go home? All right, I'll take that. Like, how many people are going to do that? Rather than having to fucking worry about ICE and shit. And then potentially getting banned from coming back into the United States. Because they can literally just go back home and then come right the fuck back, right? If they could get through the border, that is. But it is one of these things. My disabled ass wants Neuralink. I hear you, buddy. I want to. It has always been my dream to play video games with my mind. It has always been my dream to play video games with my mind. And one day it's going to come true. One day it's going to come true. This is why, like I said, this is why I'm on board with this, because it takes away all of the stupid shit that those protesters and all those people who are bitching about the Nashville shit. It takes a lot of that shit out. And so what will probably be left is a lot of normal individuals will take this up, and the only people that won't will be the really bad dudes, right? And I have a feeling this probably will end up saving us money if we can get people to do it. I'm down. I'm totally down. But yeah, our southern border is down hard, and I absolutely want deportations to happening. I don't want Trump admin to be violating orders of withholding like they did with Abrego Garcia and then locking that motherfucker in a jail in El Salvador without proper due process. Not just the fact that they violated his withholding order, it's the fact that you can hold someone in a jail for a certain amount of time. Like, the police can come pick you up and hold you in jail for, depending on your local laws and shit like that, up to 72 hours without charging you with anything or anything like that. Literally put you in a fucking, in a box for 72 hours. Legally. So there is precedent for being able to hold individuals until that happens. And it's always been a thing that if you can't make bail or anything like that, then you basically sit in jail until your fucking court date, right? So this is not something that's new in general. It is new that there is no expiration date on how long Dude Bro is going to be over there, nor is there anything to do with the fact that he was deported directly from America to an El Salvadorian prison, right? That's the rub. And the reason people are bitching about due process is because if he were an American citizen, you couldn't just lock him up indefinitely. You have to give them a trial to be able to lock them in a cage. For crimes that they committed. And unfortunately, that also applies to, for the Trump admin, I mean, that also applies to non-citizens. So you can deport them with a lot less due process requirements, right? I think the only due process that's required is the identification of the individual and the confirmation that they are of their immigration status. And once that's done, they can be deported. Unless they claim like asylum or some dumb shit like that, then they have to have a hearing and yada 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 and so on and so forth. And so this is why I keep saying that everybody making allusions to, you know, Nazi Germany and all this other stuff, it's like you're going to the most extreme immediately, and you leave no wiggle room in there for not only to come back, but also you have nowhere else to go if they actually do worse things. Because you're screaming Nazi, you're screaming fascist, you're screaming authoritarian regime, dictator, and all this other bullshit when we're not there yet. We're not even fucking close. And so if that shit does actually happen, you have nowhere else to go. You've already been screaming Nazi for years. Nobody's listening to you but your own side. It's simple as that. You've basically lost the argument because you couldn't fucking keep your mouth fucking shut. And it's absolutely like this is one of these things where I sit back and it makes me laugh. Because it really does feel like progressives, modern day blue team progressives, are literally their own fucking worst enemy. Like they cannot keep their fucking mouths shut to win for anything. And the proof is in the pudding, boys. The proof is in the pudding. Let me bring it back up. I know you hate Baldy. But this is AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What is she doing? She's giving a speech at a rally. And what is happening? Hecklers from her own side are calling her a fucking genocider because of fucking Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Right?
Protests and a lot of these events, it's pretty much all white people doing it. And I think it's just, I feel like if you just look at a lot of these.
I brought this up because I had it ready. So this is what I'm talking about these people being their own worst enemy. They literally fucking cannot stop virtue signaling for a single second to think about what the fuck they're doing. Because if you really wanted there to be less shit going on in Gaza, and I think they just confirmed, didn't the IDF just confirm that they were going to start moving out Palestinians from that area? Ethnically. Let's see what Grok says. I'm pretty sure I saw this on Twitter somewhere. It's not confirmed the policy, the term ethnic cleansing, blah blah blah. The Israeli government, including figure prime minister, has stated such as seizure of the land corridors in Gaza, blah 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 blah. Let's see what it says. I swear to God, I saw this. Maybe I might be wrong, but I saw that they were remove all Palestinians. Statements raise concerns about displacement. Israel Security Cabinet approve a plan to seize the Gaza Strip and stay for an indefinite period of time, which includes moving hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to Gaza's south, potentially amounting to forcible displacement. There you go. That was May 5th, so that was yesterday. AP reports. Blah, 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 blah. Made provocative statements with no explicit government statements confirms. Okay, so what do we got? Israel approval plan to see. Yeah, okay. Israel approved plans Monday to seize the Gaza Strip and to stay in Palestinian territory for an unspecified amount of time. Okay, cool. So yeah, they cannot get out of their own fucking way for 5 seconds with their goddamn virtue signaling. They literally just cannot fucking do it. And so whether it's immigration, whether it's fucking Israel-Palestine, they cannot stop fucking own goaling themselves. And the funny thing is that AOC does the exact same shit that this bitch did. This bitch in the crowd who was screaming about calling AOC a genocider. Let me see if I can actually find it. I might actually be able to pull the actual thing up so we don't have to watch fucking Baldy pontificate upon the greater things. Okay, here we go. So, we talked about all the immigration stuff. We talked about all the flowery language that they use over it. Look at this. Jennifer King, this is the heckler. She's often protesting outside the UN and organizes with Code Pink. She even shared her IG story from the AOC town hall.
To defend and I know what you're doing about the genocide in Gaza. You're a war criminal.
So she didn't call her a genocider. She called her a war criminal. A war criminal. So when you hear Baldy say shit like this,
I feel like if you just look at a lot of these protests and a lot of these events, it's pretty much all
you can't have that. You can't do that.
White people doing it. And I think it's just upper middle class white people that have lived at the peak of privilege of the...
Who was it? Who is it? Who is it?
The entire history of humankind. And they have some sort of internalized guilt for that. Probably some of it deserved. And they constantly look for other causes to latch themselves onto because they realize they have enough intelligence to realize that their existence and their lifestyle is funded by the exploitation, abuse, and suppression of people in second and third world countries.
So this is a person that is so politically aligned with the bitch screaming about her being a war criminal, right? That they agree on almost all of this stuff. Doesn't matter. Because this is not about AOC. This is not about even Israel-Palestine. This is about her. This is exactly what this is about. She could do more, right? You know she could. She organizes with Code Pink. Is that what she said? Yeah, organize with Code Pink, all that stupid shit, right? Look at this. Look at this. Protests outside the UN and organizes with Code Pink. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? That it's not about Israel-Palestine. That it's about her. Look at how she's reacting. Look at this. It's like she's begging. This is what it does. This is what this shit does to you, man. This is like, I could understand them doing this at like a fucking Republican event or a Trump event or a MAGA thing, but you're literally at the most progressive left-wing fucking rally you could possibly imagine, and you're screaming at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that she's a fucking war criminal. I don't even like AOC. And I'm just like, what are you smoking? Now, I do believe AOC might one day be president. So watch your shit. She's a smart cookie. She's not fucking stupid. Not in the way that people say that she's stupid. Everybody's stupid in some way, but not in that way. We will see, though. We will see, because it has come to my attention over the past few months that a lot of her political stardom may have been false. That she may have had people helping her craft all of her persuasion and all this other stuff, and that she may have lost that, which is why she's kind of like, her star kind of fell a little bit or was obscured over the past, couple years, few months. So I don't know. The way she came out swinging when she first got in, she's got some real persuasion, like technique shit going on. But it might not be her. It might have been a team effort, right? So who knows? Who knows? We will see in the coming months. But you gotta love all the Nazi hand signals. Gotta love that. Look at that. Look at that. There's one right there. Got another one. Heil Hitlers. Look at that. Look at all them Heil Hitlers, man. At a progressive rally. Gotta love that. Sorry, I can't help myself. Like, how good do you think she feels about herself that she did this? You think she feels good about herself? That she stood up and screamed at AOC? Do you think she feels good? Do you think it's her emotional fulfillment that she's going here for, or do you think it's the children in Palestine that she's going for? Because honestly, you got to think about it. Like, if it were the children in Palestine, she probably would have voted for Kamala Harris. She wouldn't be screaming at AOC. She'd want to be standing next to her being like, fuck Trump, right? Right? It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay. So yes, they cannot get the fuck out of their own way. And they keep doing this shit where it's like nobody is going to agree. From the scream, I'd say 50-50, fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she doesn't care, but when you lack the forethought to plan properly about how you're going to execute something, about how you're going to get something done, that's what this looks like. Because how long has this worked? Like, this has worked for like 50 fucking years against people in our government. And one of the reasons it did is because they were wrong. Like, a lot of the reason that all the free speech stuff and the left was touting free speech is because they were the underdog. And free speech is what the underdog wants. It's the same reason the right for the past fucking 10 years has been screaming out free speech. And the moment that the right is in cultural ascendance, well, how many of them fucking grifter ass bastards turn around and go like, oh, free speech isn't all that important? Because free speech is the tool of the underdog. So ridiculous. And to me, this just looks like self-satisfying bullshit. Like, this might as well be performative for all it gives a fuck, because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything at all. It's not going to help anybody. The only thing it's doing is giving her fulfillment. And that is why when you see people do shit like this, you can see the smile on their face, right? Oh, she's so angry and fiery, then why is her lips upturned? Because she's getting gratification from the thing that she's doing. It's like when you see them at protests when they're screaming and yelling and doing bad things to other people, and they literally get off on it, right? It makes them feel good for throwing racial slurs at black cops. It makes them feel good for throwing racial slurs at just normal white people, right? It makes them feel good to lie to the police about when they assaulted someone. We see this all the time. This is why it's about them and nothing else, right? Because you wouldn't act like this if it were. Unless you were like not raised properly. But you know, that's just a whole nother ballgame.